So I got a call the other day from a customer of mine, and he asked me if I would be interested in looking at a car for him. It was a Mercedes, which is not normally my normally what I would look at, but he had gone down to Gullwing Motorcars. Now I've been to Gullwing before, and it's a place in Queens, and a lot of people probably seen the ads, and I've talked about them before, but it's a place in Queens that has a ton of cars, and the owner of that business hunts the world over and seems to get his hands on all sorts of cars. A lot of them are project cars. A lot of them are right on the hairy edge of, you know, just being a mess. But occasionally there's some good cars there. So my customer had gone down there to go look at a 1968 Mercedes 230 SL convertible, and he liked it. He told me that it was rough, and it was, but he just loved the color combination. It was, you know, sold as a single owner car, long time in the family, all that stuff. But it had needs, and so he said, he asked me, Tom, would you mind going down there and just taking a look and seeing if I should buy this car? And I, you know, had this discussion with him and said, you know, I'd be happy to go, but just understand that a lot of times these cars get sold to Gullwing because they don't want to be bothered with fixing it. They know that they'll just wholesale it to Gullwing will turn around and flip it. I don't always have like a lot of confidence that it's going to be a good car, because I think that Gullwing sells a lot of dreams, but the reality of all the dreams are that, you know, it's a lot of money to make those dreams come true. I mean, Mercedes, Ferrari, Maserati, Lamborghini, they are expensive to fix. And when you find one that's got needs, it usually exceeds the value of the car. And I know a lot of us, we're always bargain shopping, always looking for bargains, and always thinking that, you know, oh, I could just get it and I'll fix it, and you know, put the sweat equity into the car and it'll be worth it. But very rarely does that work out, especially in a market like today, because interest rates are higher than they were a couple years ago, and money is not as cheap. So it's not like the prices of these cars go up. When we had the pandemic, or when we had really low interest rates, people could borrow equity against their houses. They could buy cars, and then all of a sudden the demand went up, and then more cars were being sold because more people wanted cars. Well, now that the pandemic is over, or more or less over, and the interest rates are going up, and there's uncertainty in the world, cars are not as valuable as they were a couple years ago. So now what's happening is we see a softening of the market. Well, that's even worse, because you buy a car, it could be worth less in a year or so. So if you're going to go buy a car that has needs, labor rates are actually getting higher, and parts are getting more expensive, but the cars themselves are not worth as much as they were a couple years ago. So that could be a problem. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't, you know, that he didn't buy something that he was going to regret, or at least that's my job. My job is to be not to think about the diamond in the rough for them. My job is to be the cold hard facts. My job is to find all the things that are wrong with the car. So unfortunately, the day that I chose to go down there, I was rewarded with a big flat tire on the Bronx River Parkway. Thought I was going to miss the appointment to see the car, but you know, luckily I was able to get down there, and it was only about an hour and a half delay. But you know, welcome to New York City. But anyway, got the car fixed, got to Gullwing, they pulled the car out and took it out for a test drive. I mean, it ran, it stopped, it moved, it drove like a 230 SL, a little, you know, it was okay, it was kind of wallowy. I could feel it, the brakes had stopped, and you know, it wasn't really pulling one way or the other. The clutch grabbed a little low, but then I asked them if we could put it on the rack, because usually what I do when I do an inspection is I go underneath, I check out all the oil leaks, and just like I would be with a Ferrari, I go over it and then do a compression check now that I've run the car and got it a little warmer. So underneath the car, it was pretty oily. I mean, the front pulley seal was leaking, the rear main seal was leaking, the transmission was leaking, the rear end was leaking, like everything was leaking. And positive things, okay, it had, you know, new fuel lines or oil lines put in. I mean, not oil lines, new fuel lines and new brake lines. But generally, it was just, it had that feel of like, let's just get this car up and running so that we can sell the car. So, wasn't that crazy about it. And the paint wasn't even that great. I mean, he liked the color, but the paint had obviously been repainted. The chrome was very worn out. So, where do you go with a car like this? Well, you buy it for the asking price, and then you don't do anything to the car. You keep driving it. Can you keep driving that car? I guess so. You just keep adding oil to everything that's leaking out. But if you try to fix these oil leaks, it gets expensive very quickly. I mean, I could easily see 10 grand of labor trying to take this thing apart, because the engine has to come out, I believe. I also heard and talked to some people, and, you know, tell me in the comments below, but a 230 SL, if the rear main seal is leaking, it's a rope seal. So I think the crank has to come out, and that means the engine has to come out. Oil pan comes out, bottom end comes out, flip it over. If you take the crank out, well then what are the main bearings are showing wear? Do you put everything back together, slap it back together, or do you actually put new bearings in it? And then what happens is, well, why are the bearings worn out? Is the crank being cut? Next thing you know, you're rebuilding the engine. Well, just go buy a better car. So, wasn't really crazy about the car. So, but while I was down there, there's always other stuff to look around. So I saw this. Okay, so I'm here at Gullwing, and I'm looking at a couple cars, and just showing you what I see. It's kind of neat. It's got this Euro 308. So interesting car. Let's see what you got. 308 GTB, 1980. It's a carbureted car. The mileage on it says it's 36,000 kilometers, so that's pretty wild, pretty low mileage, but I don't think it's running. Red car, got a little bit of star cracking and all that other stuff. Who knows if the car's been painted? I mean, that's your typical Gullwing, you don't know. But 308, kind of a neat car. You know, again, all that stuff, you got to look at the fuse panel and the bolster. Kind of, maybe that's indicative of 37,000 kilometers. Usually it's all torn up at that kind of, if it was more mileage than that. So yeah, I guess I'd believe it. You know, paint's got craziness on it, just dripping, and forlorn car. Let's just take a look at this engine real quick. I'm told it's not running. So, oh, look at that. Do not start or crank engine, cylinders full of Marvel mystery oil. So somebody must have put this car in storage. I see a 12/23 date on the oil filter, or the oil filter. Replacement overflow tank. So somebody's, you know, done some stuff on this car. Or what? No, yeah, I think that's a replacement, because the original ones were brass, weren't they? So who knows? Got some books, got some stuff in here, all sorts of ownership detritus. But yeah, that's the car. So that's that one. Pretty neat. California, I guess. This one's, I think, on the bubble of it. I mean, you know, it is a 355, 99.5. I'm told that the price is better than, they can do better than that. There's the information on it. 95, 355. It is a 6-speed, so I guess kind of a good car. Unfortunately, these days, red is unsellable, just simply because no one wants a red car. Everybody wanted a red car, and now nobody wants a red car. But it's your classic red tan, but it does have the stick. The panels are starting to get a little sticky. You could see the deformation on the handbrake lever. That means the rubber is starting to get a little sticky. I don't know if the rest of it there looks that bad. We just try the top. The tops have a little issue, so I don't know if that's going to be, they'll make a, you know, a price reduction, because I don't think, I tried the top and it's not working. See if I can read the mileage on this thing, if I got the right. I think the other thing said the mileage on it. What did it say? It said 28,000 miles, so I'm going to assume it's very close. But yeah, 355 Spider. But rest of the shop is just filled with all sorts of dreams. Pantera, Aston Martin, E-Type, 89.5. Kind of nice. I got all the prices on this. Oh, look at this thing. I mean, not that I'm a fan of these things, but here's an Espada. Look at that. I actually like the color combination. 89,950. This one actually looks really nice. I mean, it has the right leather interior. I think it looks like it's been redone. Oh, there you go. Automatic. No wonder. Say no more. But cool car. Look at this. AC Bristol. I didn't realize these cars got so high. But this is the precursor to the Cobra. 6-cylinder, I believe, right? We do have this C4 over here, but almost probably not a consideration. I don't think it's a matching number car. Not running. C4s are scary. You know, too much trouble with them, and then all of a sudden you've got a non-matching number car with a non-runner. That can get expensive very quickly. But yeah, so that's what we got here. You know, just all sorts of stuff. Just dreaming about cars. This one's another one that I kind of caught my eye. This is kind of neat. It's a B, 94,000 miles, beige. I kind of like this car. It's got a little bit of star cracking. The paint's not that great. I mean, unfortunately, they're almost $80,000. I mean, that's a lot of money for a car that kind of doesn't look great. But I kind of like these old kind of crazed cars. You know, the paint's not that great. I really like these little notchbacks. And you know what? The interior doesn't look bad. Fun little car, lots of fun to drive, but you know, if it wasn't for the price, pretty neat car. I mean, again, that's what these cars are going for. But you know, this Darren, no idea. I know nothing about a Darren except I know what it is. You know, the strange pocket doors. 89.5. Sorry, I'd probably buy the 356 first. Anyway, heading back north, but that's what's going on down at Gullwing. All right, so I was leaving, and then I saw this one. So check this out, SC, brown. Now, some people, maybe even me, might not handle brown, but 49.5, SC 78. There's the serial number, but it's kind of crazy. I mean, it looks really clean in there. I don't know if I'd like the brown dash as well. I'd like to have a black dash, but these SCs are kind of really nice cars. Has that classic 911 sound. BBS wheels are a little kind of 80s, but looks like air conditioning in it. Looks like original paint. The mirrors aren't chopped up. It's actually pretty clean. Like the paint isn't that chipped up for the age. Sunroof. I don't know, 49.5? 915 transmission. Looks like original carpets. Plain steering wheel. When do you see a steering wheel without all the buttons and crap on it? That's kind of cool. Yeah, neat car. Anyway, so that's me walking out the door, but that's kind of a neat car here. All right, see you next time.